Ethan froze at the door. His hand slowly went to his head, and he couldn't breathe. The two wheelchairs, both empty, sat against the wall, and on the floor his helper Abby was doing something with his twins Leo and Noah that made his heart turn to ice. What? His voice was shaky. What is this? 1.5 years ago, a sleepy driver zoomed through a red light and smashed into Ethan's car, changing everything. His wife Sarah was driving their twins home from a fun day at preschool. The crash hit hard on her side of the car, and she was gone in a flash. Leo and Noah lived, but they couldn't walk anymore. Their backs were badly hurt, and doctors said they probably wouldn't ever walk again. Ethan felt really guilty and built a big wall around himself. He found the best doctors, nurses to help all the time, super fancy machines, making sure everything was just right, safe, and controlled. The boys sat in their wheelchairs like little quiet statues, hardly moving. Their eyes, which used to sparkle with fun, now just stared. 3 months ago, Abby walked into their house. She was 29 years old, hired to cook yummy food, clean, and help out. She wasn't a doctor or a special helper. But Abby saw something no one else did. She saw 2 little boys, not just a problem, and she promised herself she wouldn't give up on them. For 3 weeks, while Ethan was away for work, Abby secretly worked with the twins. She did gentle movements, sang happy songs, and used special ways she learned when her little brother was told he'd never walk again after falling off his bike. Now her brother runs long races. That Tuesday afternoon, Ethan came home early because his meeting in a far-off city got canceled. He heard something from the special room where the boys had their therapy, something he hadn't heard in 1.5 years, laughter. He walked down the hall and slowly opened the door. What he saw made his heart stop beating for a second. Before we dive deeper, hit the like button, subscribe, and tell me where you're reading from. If you've ever watched someone try super hard for something everyone else said was impossible, this story will make your heart feel warm and a little sad. Ethan's fancy, expensive shoes felt stuck to the floor. Abby looked up at him, her hand still on Leo's legs. The boys felt a change in the air. Their smiles slowly faded, and their eyes moved to their dad. "Mr. Miller," she started. "What are you doing?" His voice was harder than he wanted it to be. "Why are they out of their chairs?" "I'm helping them," she said softly. "Helping?" He stepped into the room, his heart thumping like a drum. "You're not a doctor. You're not a special helper. You don't just..." He pointed at the empty wheelchairs, at his sons on the floor. "You don't do this." Abby's jaw got tight, but her voice stayed calm. "They don't need to be in those chairs all the time. That's not your decision, Mr. Miller. If you just listen, get them back in their wheelchairs." His hands were shaking now. The room became super quiet. Leo's bottom lip started to tremble, and Noah's eyes filled with tears. Abby looked at Ethan for a long time. Then she nodded. "Okay." She helped Leo first, lifting him gently, whispering something sweet Ethan couldn't hear. Then Noah. Both boys reached for her as she buckled them in. Not for him. For her. That hurt Ethan more than he thought it would. "I need you to leave," he said, his voice empty. Abby stood up, wiped her hands on her jeans. "They were happy, Mr. Miller. Just go." She walked past him without another word. The door clicked shut behind her. Ethan knelt beside his sons. Leo's quiet tears felt like a sharp pain in his heart. Noah stared at the floor, his small shoulders shaking. "It's okay, buddy," Ethan whispered, but his voice cracked. "It's okay. Daddy's here." Leo turned his face away. Ethan stayed there on his knees, his hands trembling with feelings he couldn't name. Fear, anger, confusion all crashing together. He had just seen his sons moving. Really moving, their legs lifting, their faces bright with joy. And he had stopped it. He looked at the empty mat where they had been sitting, at the wheelchairs where they sat now, at his sons who wouldn't look at him. What did I just do? The question bounced around in the quiet room, and he had no answer. That evening, Ethan sat all alone in his special workroom. The city lights looked blurry through the window, and his drink sat untouched, the ice melting away. He kept seeing the empty wheelchairs, his sons' happy smiles, Leo reaching for Abby instead of him. When did that happen? When did they stop reaching for me? He knew the answer. 1.5 years ago, the day everything broke. Sarah had been driving the boys home from their preschool play. Leo wore cardboard bee wings covered in sparkly glitter. Noah had a paper sun taped to his shirt. She had sent Ethan a picture while he was in a big meeting far away. He never opened it. She called once. He silenced his phone. The sleepy driver zoomed through the red light going super fast. The crash crushed the driver's side right away. By the time Ethan's plane landed, Sarah was already gone. The boys were in surgery. He remembered the bright hospital lights that hurt his eyes. Machines beeping in a way that felt like they were making fun of him. Doctors speaking in careful, soft voices. Bad back injury. We're doing everything we can. But hung in the air like smoke. 3 days later, the sad news came. Leo and Noah would probably never walk. Their nerves were damaged, and their bodies wouldn't work right. Special exercises might help their muscles stay strong, but miracles, those didn't happen in real life. Ethan buried his wife on a Tuesday. His sons watched from their new wheelchairs, too little to understand why mommy wasn't coming home. He made a promise at her grave. Kneeling in the mud, rain soaking through his suit. I'll take care of them. I swear to God, I'll take care of them. But being sad doesn't care about promises. For a whole year, Ethan threw money at the problem. The best doctors, the fanciest machines, special helpers from other countries, new ways of doing things from all over, special new treatments. Nothing worked. The boys became quieter, moving farther away from him. Their eyes, which once sparkled with fun, now looked flat and empty. Ethan told himself it was because of their injuries, the scary accident, losing their mom. But deep down he knew the truth. They had lost him too. He had been so busy trying to fix them that he had forgotten to really see them. And now, 3 months after hiring Abby to bring some warmth back into his cold, quiet house, he had just caught her doing something that scared him. She had gotten them out of their wheelchairs and they had been happy. At 2 in the morning, Ethan couldn't take it anymore. He grabbed his tablet and pulled up the secret camera video from that afternoon. He had to know what exactly she had been doing with his sons. The clock on the video said 2:47 p.m. Ethan pressed play. Abby sat on the mat, her legs folded. Leo and Noah were beside her, not in their wheelchairs but on the floor. She was humming something soft, her hands gently moving along Leo's legs. There you go, sweetheart. Her voice came through the speaker. Just a little stretch. That's it. Ethan leaned closer to the screen. Leo's foot moved just a tiny bit. A small wiggle of his toes. Ethan held his breath. He rewound it. Watched again. It happened. It actually happened. His son's toes moved. He zoomed forward. At 3:02 p.m., Noah reached for Abby's hand with shaky fingers. She took it, squeezed gently, and the boy smiled. A real smile, the kind Ethan hadn't seen since before the accident. His throat felt tight. He kept watching. Week 1. Abby singing while the boys were still in their chairs. Gentle, patient, no pushing. Week 2, the boys on the mat. Abby helping their legs through slow movements. Leo giggling as she helped him reach for a stuffed elephant. Week 3. Day 4. Leo's toes moved again, stronger this time. Ethan played it 6 times, each time feeling more and more surprised. Then he heard it. Abby's voice, barely a whisper. Lord, the doctors say they can't, but I see them trying, and trying is where miracles begin. Please help me. Help them. The words went straight through him. Trying is where miracles begin. Ethan pressed his hands against his eyes. His chest felt like it was squishing in. He had yelled at her, made her feel bad, sent her away for the one thing that had made his son smile in 1.5 years. He checked the live camera feed. Abby's room was empty, her bed untouched. His stomach dropped. She left. Then he found her sitting on the floor of the boys' bedroom, wrapped in a blanket, her back against the wall. Leo snuggled close to her like she was home. Noah hugged his stuffed elephant, breathing softly and steadily. She hadn't left. After everything, she had stayed. Ethan stared at the screen, something new growing inside him. Why? He whispered. He stood up, walked barefoot through the dark house until he reached the boys' door. The room smelled like calming lavender. Abby's eyes opened when he stepped inside. She didn't move, didn't speak, just watched him with tired eyes. Ethan's voice stopped. I shouldn't have. You told me to stop. Her voice was flat, empty. He looked down at his sons, at the way Leo leaned toward her even in his sleep. I was wrong, he said quietly. Abby studied him for a long moment. Then she looked away, and Ethan realized saying it wasn't enough. The sun started to rise, gray and quiet. Ethan hadn't slept. He had sat in his chair watching the secret camera feed until the sun slowly crept through the clouds. At 6:30 he went to check on the boys. He found Abby still on the floor beside their beds, blanket pulled around her shoulders, her head resting against the wall, eyes closed, her face soft in the early light. She had stayed all night. Ethan stood in the doorway, his chest feeling tight. Leo stirred first. His eyes blinked open, saw his father, then immediately looked for Abby. She's right here, buddy, Ethan whispered. Abby's eyes opened. For a second she looked confused. Then she saw him, and her protective shield went back up. She sat up slowly, careful not to wake Noah. I'll get breakfast started. Wait, she paused but didn't look at him. I watched the video, Ethan said. All of it. Abby's jaw tightened. She stood, folded the blanket, and put it on the chair. Then you know I wasn't hurting them. I know. Silence stretched between them. I saw their toes move, Ethan continued, his voice low. I saw them smile. I saw. He stopped, swallowed. I saw them happy. Abby finally looked at him. Her eyes were tired, guarded, and I need to understand. How did you know to do that? She didn't answer right away. Just stood there, arms crossed, like she was deciding if he deserved to know the truth. Finally she spoke. My brother David, he was 12 when he had a skateboarding accident, broke his back. Doctors said he'd never walk again. Ethan waited. My grandma, she was a special helper for bodies. Before she stopped working, she didn't believe it. She worked with him every single day for 2 years. Stretches, movements, prayer. Things the doctors said were useless. Abby's voice softened. He walks now, runs, lives a full life. And you learned from her? I watched. I remembered. She paused. When I saw Leo reach for that toy on his 3rd day, his fingers moved just slightly. I knew. Your sons aren't finished fighting. Ethan's throat felt like it was burning. Why didn't you tell me? Because you wouldn't have let me try. Her eyes held his. You would have said I was doing too much, that I didn't know what I was doing. He couldn't argue. She was right. They need you, Mr. Miller, Abby said quietly. Not your money, not your special rules. You. The words hit him like a punch. Before he could respond, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out. A text from his helper. Your mom is on her way. She'll be here in 30 minutes. She said. It's very important. Ethan's blood ran cold. His mom never showed up without telling him unless something was very, very wrong. 2 days later, Ethan sat in Dr. Reed's office with both boys and Abby. He had asked for new tests, thorough scans, everything. Dr. Reed had been doubtful. We just checked them 6 weeks ago, Ethan. I'm not sure what you're expecting to find. Something's changed, Ethan said. I need you to look again. The boys were nervous. Leo kept reaching for Abby's hand. She held it gently, whispering something that made him relax. Ethan watched from across the room. The test took an hour. Brain and nerve scans, checking how nerves reacted, how muscles moved. Leo went first, then Noah. Abby stayed close to both of them the whole time, her calming presence helping them in ways Ethan couldn't. Dr. Reed studied the screens quietly. Then he stopped, took off his glasses and stared at the screen. What is it? Ethan asked, his heart pounding. Dr. Reed didn't answer right away. He zoomed in on the scan, changed some settings, checked again. Finally he spoke. There's tiny nerve movement in Leo's lower back area. Ethan's breath caught. What does that mean? It means. Dr. Reed looked up, confusion on his face. It means something is responding. Faintly, but it's there. It wasn't there 6 weeks ago. And Noah. Dr. Reed pulled up Noah's scan, studied it. His eyes opened a little wider. Muscle movement in his right leg. Not a lot, but we can measure it. He set down his tablet. Ethan, I don't know how to explain this. Is it possible? Ethan's voice shook. Could they medically? This shouldn't be happening. Dr. Reed looked at the boys, then at Abby. What changed in the last month? Ethan glanced at Abby. She sat quietly, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes down. Someone who refused to give up, Ethan said softly. Dr. Reed studied Abby for a long moment. What kind of special help have you been doing? Abby looked up unsure. Nothing formal, just gentle movements, stretches, songs, being there. Being there. Dr. Reed repeated. Yes, sir. He was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. Whatever you're doing, don't stop. I'll write everything down. Keep an eye on their progress. But, he paused. This is amazing. Ethan felt something crack open in his chest. Hope. Real scary, impossible hope. That night his phone rang. His mother's name flashed on the screen. He answered. Mom. I'm coming to the city, Grandma Martha said, her voice sharp and cold. We need to talk about this woman you've hired. Ethan's stomach dropped. How did you? I have my ways. I'll be there tomorrow morning. The line went dead. Grandma Martha arrived at 10 in the morning. Ethan heard the car pull up, watched from the window as his mother stepped out. Pretty necklaces, a fancy coat, her hair perfectly done. She moved like a woman who never doubted herself. He met her at the door. Mom. Ethan. She kissed his cheek without warmth. You look tired. I've been busy. I'm sure you have. Her eyes quickly looked past him into the house. Where is she? If you mean Abby, she's with the boys. Grandma Martha's lips pressed into a thin line. We need to talk now. They went to his special workroom. Grandma Martha didn't sit. She stood by the window, her hands held together in front of her. I spoke with Mrs. Davison yesterday, she began. She mentioned you've been letting an uncertified helper do special bodywork on your sons. Ethan's jaw tightened. That's not. Do you understand how much trouble you could be in? Grandma Martha's voice was sharp like glass. The danger? This woman has no doctor training, no special papers, and you're letting her try things on kids who've been through a lot. She's not experimenting. She's helping them. You don't know that. Grandma Martha turned to face him. You're desperate, Ethan. I get that. But desperate men make really bad choices. The doctors saw results, nerve movement, muscle response, things that weren't there before. And what happens when she makes a mistake? When she makes things worse? What then? Grandma Martha's eyes were cold. I'm calling our lawyers. You will not. Then I'll tell the state medical board myself. Ethan stood. You will leave her alone. Or what? Before he could answer, the door opened. Abby stood there, Noah in her arms. The boy's head rested on her shoulder. I'm sorry to interrupt, Abby said quietly. Noah wanted water and I. Stop. Saw Grandma Martha. The room became still. Grandma Martha's eyes moved from Abby to Noah and back again. Put him down, Grandma Martha said. Mom, Ethan started. Put him down. Abby hesitated, then gently set Noah on his feet, holding him steady with her hands on his shoulders. Noah wobbled. His legs shook, but he stood. Grandma Martha's face went pale. Then Noah saw his grandma and he smiled. Grandma! He lifted his arms toward her. Actually lifted them with strength, wanting to hug her. Grandma Martha stared, her mouth slightly open. No words came out. Go ahead, Abby said softly. He wants you. Grandma Martha took one step forward, then another. Noah reached higher and Grandma Martha, who never cried, who never showed she was weak, felt her eyes sting. She turned and walked out of the room without a word. Ethan found her in the hallway 10 minutes later, staring at nothing. Mom! She didn't look at him, just spoke, her voice hollow. I saw something today I can't explain. I know. A long silence. Then, I need to make a phone call. Ethan's blood ran cold. Mom, please. But she was already walking away. Ethan didn't sleep that night. He kept his phone close, waiting for it to ring. For lawyers, for child services, for someone to show up and take everything away, but the call never came. The next morning he found Abby in the therapy room with the boys. She had them on the mat doing gentle stretches. Her voice was soft, steady. That's it, Leo. Just a little more. You're doing so good. Leo's leg lifted slightly, his face scrunched with effort. I see you working, sweetheart. I see you. Ethan stood in the doorway watching. Noah noticed him first. Daddy, look. He wiggled his toes. Barely, but it was there. I see, buddy. Ethan's voice cracked. That's amazing. Abby glanced up at him. Their eyes met for a moment. Then she looked away. The rest of the morning passed quietly. Too quietly. Abby kept to herself, made lunch, cleaned the kitchen, stayed professional. Ethan wanted to say something. Anything. But the words felt too big for his mouth. At 2 in the afternoon, his phone finally rang. His mother's name lit up the screen. He answered, getting ready for the worst. Mom. I spoke with Mr. Jenkins this morning, Grandma Martha said. Mr. Jenkins was the family's main lawyer. Ethan's stomach dropped in a long pause. I told him to stand down. Ethan blinked. What? I'm not calling anyone. I'm not getting in the way. Her voice was quieter than he'd ever heard it. What I saw yesterday. I can't unsee it. Relief rushed through him so fast it hurt. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Grandma Martha's tone became a little sharper. But I won't be the one who stops this, whatever this is. She hung up. Ethan stood there, phone in hand, trying to understand it. His mother, who questioned everything, who trusted nothing she couldn't control, had given up because of Noah? Because of what she had seen. He found Abby in the boys' room folding laundry. My mother's not going to get in the way, he said. Abby paused. That's good, Mr. Miller. You don't have to explain. She set down the clothes. I understand what's at stake here. For you, for them. That's not. He stopped, started again. I need you to know what you're doing for my sons. I was wrong to stop you. She looked at him then. Really looked. They're not finished fighting, she said quietly. And neither am I. Ethan nodded. Something unspoken passed between them. Then his phone buzzed. A text from a number he didn't know. We need to talk about Abby. This is Dr. Sarah Brooks, from the Children's Hospital. I have questions. Ethan's chest tightened. It wasn't over. 4 days later, Ethan came home from a morning meeting. The house felt different. Too quiet. He walked through the rooms calling her name. Abby. Nothing. He checked the kitchen. The therapy room, her bedroom, empty. Her clothes were gone, her bag, everything. On the kitchen counter, he found a handwritten note. Mr. Miller, your mother was right to be worried. My being here is causing problems in your family, and that's the last thing Leo and Noah need right now. Please don't stop working with them. They're so close. The exercises are in the blue folder in the therapy room. Dr. Reed can help guide you. Thank you for letting me be part of their lives, even for a little while. Abby. Ethan's hand shook as he read it again. No. He went to find the boys. They were in the therapy room, sitting in their wheelchairs by the window. Quiet tears streamed down their faces. Ethan knelt in front of them, his heart breaking. What's wrong, buddy? Leo looked at him with red, swollen eyes. Where's Miss Abby? His voice was barely a whisper. And then Ethan froze. It was a full sentence. The first full sentence Leo had spoken since the accident. Where's Miss Abby? Leo said again, louder this time. Desperately. Noah started crying harder. We want Miss Abby. Ethan pulled them both close, his own tears falling. I know, buddy. But as he held his sons, feeling them shake with sadness, hearing them speak for the first time in 1.5 years, something became super clear inside him. His mother's worries didn't matter. The rules didn't matter. His pride, his need to control, his fear, none of it mattered. What mattered was the woman who had given his sons their voices back, and he had let her walk away. Ethan pulled back, wiping his son's tears. Stay right here, okay? I'm going to fix this. You're bringing her back? Leo's voice cracked with hope. I'm going to try. He grabbed his keys, his phone, called his helper while running to the car. I need an address for Abby. Now. Sir, I can't just. Now. 10 minutes later, the address came through. A modest apartment building across town. Ethan drove through the busy city traffic like a man on a mission. Rain started falling, light at first, then heavier. His hands gripped the steering wheel. Please be there, please. He found the building peeling paint. A shared front porch, a narrow staircase, 3rd floor, apartment 3B. He took the stairs 2 at a time, stood in front of her door, rain-soaked, out of breath, and knocked. The door opened. Abby stood there, her eyes red from crying. Mr. Miller, my son spoke today. Ethan's voice broke. For the first time in 1.5 years, Leo said a full sentence. Abby's hand rose to her mouth. He asked where you were. Tears streamed down Ethan's face. You gave him his voice back and I let you leave. Your mother. I don't care. He shook his head. My mother saw Noah reach for her and it changed everything. But it doesn't matter what she thinks. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks. He swallowed hard. My sons need you. I need you, Mr. Miller. Please. His voice cracked completely. Come back. Not as the housekeeper, as family. As the person who saw my sons when everyone else, including me, had stopped looking. Abby's tears spilled over. They really asked for me? Ethan nodded, unable to speak. She looked at him. This man who had arrived at her door in the rain, broken open, finally seeing clearly. Okay, she whispered. I'll come back. For months later, on a Tuesday morning that felt like any other, everything changed. In the therapy room, Dr. Reed and a special body helper stood watching. Ethan stood by the window, his hands clasped like he was praying. Leo stood on the mat. Abby's hands lightly supported him at his waist. You ready, sweetheart? She whispered. He nodded. His small jaw set with determination. She let go. Leo took 1 step, then 2, 3, 4 steps all by himself before his legs wobbled. And Ethan caught him, both of them crying with happiness. Noah, watching his brother, pushed himself up, took 2 shaky steps of his own before Abby caught him, tears streaming down her face. Dr. Reed wiped his eyes. 23 years working with brains and nerves, he said in a rough voice. I've never seen anything like this. Ethan held Leo close, looked at Noah in Abby's arms, and whispered the first real prayer he had said since Sarah died. Thank you, God. Thank you. 10 months later, the Miller Recovery Foundation opened its doors, a special place that helped kids with back injuries using new ways of healing. Ways based on hope, never giving up, and love. Abby became the leader of the program. At the opening ceremony, Grandma Martha stood beside her. She didn't say sorry. Grandma Martha never apologized, but she shook Abby's hand. You proved me wrong, Grandma Martha said. That's rare. It's Martha now, not Mrs. Miller. Ethan stood at the microphone looking at the crowd. At Abby, at Leo and Noah standing beside her, standing, no wheelchairs, no help needed. 1.5 years ago, I thought my sons' futures were over, he said. I thought accepting they couldn't do certain things was the responsible thing to do. He paused, his voice full of feelings. I was wrong. Hope isn't silly. Giving up is. And sometimes the smartest person in the room is the one who refuses to believe something is impossible. The applause was super loud. That evening in the therapy room where it all began, Leo and Noah raced toy cars across the floor, standing, wobbling, laughing with pure joy. Abby sat on the mat, watching them with quiet pride. Ethan joined her, their shoulders touched. You gave them their lives back, he said softly. No, Abby smiled. They were always fighting. I just refused to let them fight alone. The wheelchair sat folded in the corner, covered with a sheet, unused, no longer needed. Leo climbed into Ethan's lap. Daddy, can Miss Abby read us a story? Of course, buddy. The one about the train. Noah added. I think I can do that, Abby said, smiling. As the evening light shone through the windows, Ethan realized something. He had come home that day long ago expecting to find his sons stuck in their problems. Instead, he had found the woman who would free them all, not just with medicine, but with something doctors couldn't give. Love, being there for them, and the quiet, strong belief that amazing things still happen when someone refuses to give up.